Hello all, hello, and welcome to Tea with G. Welcome to your weekly dose of non-dual self-inquiry. Unless you're in one of my other things in which you get more than a weekly dose, which is, and for many of you, because it is such a real practice in your life, you get a daily dose of it. But as always, I'm very happy to be here with you all. Just hoping that the mic is loud enough. I don't actually get to hear what you hear on that side. It seems like it's okay here, but I have to rely on those that are hearing, not me who is speaking. But at any rate, I thought I would just kind of pick up what is right now my go-to book. Thank you, Jacqueline. I have like 3 right now that I kind of cycle through. The Avadhut Gita, the Ashtavakra Gita, and this one, the Avadhut Gita, or the song of the Avadhut. And I love it so much I've actually titled the immersion, the retreat, the intensive I'm going to do next week. Instead of Tea with G, I will be doing a live intensive for anybody who wants to come. It'll be on Zoom, so it'll be so I will be able to see you and interact. And then I guess I do have a link to it if you're interested in joining. I've got it's only $50 full price, but I also have a reduced price of $25 US. If that's okay, and if you can't afford it all, just let me know. Leave a comment, send me an email, because I always find a way to never turn anybody down. So as with all the retreats and the immersions that I do, they're wide open. Whatever anybody wants to address in their life or in their practice, we will take it up. But I always like to pick a theme for the ones that are an actual kind of immersion. And so I have the Avadhut Song of the Cosmos, because I'm just in love with it right now, and it's kind of my go-to, which the Avadhut Gita was my go-to for quite a while. Oh, and then Ashtavakra had its day in the sun, and now it's this. No, sure, I'll go back to the others as well. But these are all Gitas, which means they're the song of a particular sage. And nobody actually knows who wrote this. It's attributed to Dattatreya, who is a very famous mythological character, actually, because nobody knows if he actually existed either. But so I just thought I would let me hide that now. Go back over here to the comments. So I just and for those of you who are not in my weekly thing that I do, which is on Zoom, non-dual self-inquiry. Sometimes people just like to show up, hope to get people that aren't there that would just like to come just the one time. I'll start like 1 in the afternoon Eastern time, which right now is 5 in the afternoon over there at eastern part of Europe, and moving onwards. So at any rate, enough of that. I just thought I would just kind of pick something up, which I did right before I went live, and just kind of picked it up, opened it, see where we get to, and I'm going to read a little bit from it, because it is a pure expression, brilliantly written. And the Sanskrit I understand of this is actually like a poem, the rhythm of it and the like. But it is a very pure expression of reality. of the truth of your being. Oftentimes, he'll use the term I here. And when he does, he's not referring to himself. He's referring to the I that is in absolutely every one of us. So I just randomly picked a place here. Let me just start reading, see how long I go for, and then I'll stop. And if anybody has any reactions to that or comments, by all means. And any questions or comments about you'd like me to speak to about anything, get them in there. The earlier the better, because I do find they kind of build up at the end when I think it's about to end, and then suddenly there's like 10 more questions there. So anyway, it says, Om pervades everything, equally like space. Within it, there are no distinctions such as high and low. When he's talking about Om, the sound from which all sound comes, he's not talking about the Om. He's not talking about that. He's talking about the essence, the self, the reality. And within that reality, there are no distinctions, such as high and low. The formless, unmanifest, manifests as form. How else could the imperishable show forth its light? I could just speak about that all day long. That is the essential unity, the oneness that is beyond the capacity of our minds to understand. The unmanifest and the manifest, that is the formless and the form, the emptiness and form, are one. They're not two. Because he says, how else could the imperishable show forth its light? The unmanifest must manifest as form without ever becoming that form. Thou, you, art that, the scriptures proclaim. Thou art that, one's own self affirms. You are beyond all diversification, the same self in all. Why lament then, O mind? I'm the same self in all. That I, of course, is you, not the one you think you are. That I is like an image in the mind. We're not talking about that anymore. We're talking about the I that perceives even the sense of I. I'm the same self in all. Beyond high and low, I'm the same self in all. Beyond inner and outer, I'm the same self in all. If there is only one, I'm the same self in all. Why lament then, mind? I'm the same self in all. Let's see if there's anything more. There's no knowledge and no ignorance in the experience of unity. There's no near and no far in the experience of unity, the form and the formless. There's no time, no eternity in the experience of unity. Why lament then, O mind? I'm the same self in all. There's no space in the jar, nor even a jar. There's no container of the soul, nor even a soul. There's no separation between cause and effect. Why lament then, O mind? I'm the same self in all. Some of you will really like this one. Here in the realm of unity, everyone is eternally free. A short time and a long time have no meaning here. Here, no distinction such as fat or thin exists. Why lament then, O mind? I'm the same self in all. Here is neither emptiness nor fullness. Here is neither purity nor impurity. Here is neither the all nor its absence. Why lament then, O mind? I'm the same self in all. It just goes on and on and on, just dissolving all our imagined distinctions and separations and the like. Always reminding you that you are that. And that simple sense of your own being that is just there all the time. Can't get rid of it. Like flypaper. Can't get rid of it. Like Velcro. That is the self. Your sense of being, which you all have right now. It doesn't take you much but a moment to recognize, yes, I am. Just a simple recognition that every sentient being has. Although with humans, we actually have the capacity to recognize it. Well, yeah, I am. That sense of being is not the person. Your very sense of being is the self, or God if you prefer, or Buddha, Buddha nature, Christ consciousness, the Holy Spirit, whatever name you want to give it. It is the self, which is the same as yourself. What the Avadhut said. There's no distinction between the form and the formless. The formless essence of you and the manifestation that you call you, this name, this body, this expression, are one. When you look at yourself, you are seeing the Lord. I think it was Rumi who said, I went looking for God and found myself. I went looking for myself and found God. God, in our minds and traditions and the like, has become this, this all-powerful other, on which we have projected all the good qualities and saved all the bad qualities for us. We're bad, God good. And then, looking at all these traditional gods and God, we wonder how in the world could it behave so horribly and still call it good. Well, if God does it, it's good. Yeah, that's a bit crazy, but nonetheless, that is simply the mistake that's been made. That God is somehow this other out there somewhere. That sense of your own being is God, the I am. Those of you who like the Bible stories, this is what the character Moses recognized. Now, Moses is a mythological character. There's no evidence that he existed. But the story has the potency because it was transformational. Moses asked, who is this? Right? No, he's looking inward. That's what mountains mean. I'm in the mountain. He's walking around in the mountain, which means he's reaching. It's like meditation. He's reaching for the heights. And on that mountain is this bush that's burning, but not burning up. Well, in translation I saw the word burning is mental anguish. those of you who have done classes with me, oftentimes in the beginning it's very uncomfortable for those difficult feelings to be there, and our tendency to want to run away from them. And instead I keep inviting you back to really be present with them. And the same thing happened to Moses. in the thing, he'd passed by there numerous times, but it makes the point of that this time he said, I'm going to stop now and look at this bush that burns, this mental anguish, but will not stop. It never runs out of fuel. It just keeps going and going and going. And the moment he does that sincerely, there's a voice that appears right out of the center of the bush. It says, Moses, take off your shoes because you're standing on holy ground. For me, that's a mythological representation of the thing in a very practical and much more mundane way. I do when I work with folks. Don't run away from it. Go to that sense of distress. Turn towards it. Because in the midst of that, you're going to hear something that you hadn't heard before. How to get there from the Avadhut? Right, because that voice inside, that sense, it's not a voice like this, sometimes it is, that sense of I am, that we humans uniquely have the capacity to actually look at. I mean, that sense I am is in everything. It's in the mosquito, it's in the cockroach, it's in the tree behind me. It's in everything that exudes life. There is the sense I am. There is there's I am even in a rock, which is not sentient. It's of the same thing, but the sentience represents the stages of consciousness, and in the human, it reaches the apex, not because of all the things we can do, not because of the technology and all of the stuff they've done and the messes we've made. It's because we have the capacity to not only be there, but we can know it's there, to consciously become self-aware. That's what this inquiry is about. So that invitation to look in those places that are difficult, that are struggling, that are painful, that are filled with all sorts of memories, all sorts of things, that everything in the world is trying to get you to go away from. Like Moses, you turn towards it and say, okay, what's here? And this is the way in which that sense of being, the I am, becomes the self-realization. We have to have the experience of turning towards it and away from the world, which simply means away from all of the ways we've thought about ourselves, conceived of ourselves, believed ourselves to be, all the things we have taken to be ourselves, which have all ended up in extreme disappointment, disaster, etc. And certainly not paid the dividends we were expecting. And then just be willing to walk inward. When you're ready, when your time has come, which is everybody here, otherwise you wouldn't be here, some mentor appears on the horizon. Somebody to guide you, somebody suggests things, and it's usually somebody. Although it may start as a book, it may start as a video you hear, but eventually it does become something much more intimate. Someone who can give you some direct guidance and some actual transmission, so you can see it embodied. Just the way when I was a young musician playing with really good musicians, you just kind of get it by osmosis. I played better just playing with them. Suddenly my game was lifted, and do it enough, And again, which the moment I left them was right back down here. But after a while, just the exposure to it, there's the it's a transmission. And that's why we're here. That's why we do this. And you've been drawn to this, which means you've been called to it. You've been called, you've been chosen. Then it does fall on us to choose. Some people don't. I don't want this. It's okay, just go. Eventually, our illusions that this world has something permanent, lasting, substantial to offer us, it becomes clear it is an illusion. It's not really true. It's not get rid of the world, throw everything out, just become a monk, sit in a cave. It's nothing like that. But you just realize that all the benefits and wonders and pleasures and fun and stuff in the world is transient. It's temporary. It comes and it goes. Great. Enjoy it while it's there. Grieve it when it's gone. But recognize that this is the nature of it. And so your heart can turn more completely towards that place where to discover that which is not changing, which is in fact the source and origin of everything that is, as he pointed out, the form and the formless. They're one. The unmanifest and the manifest are not two, but the unmanifest is the changeless. That's what we find, the happiness that doesn't go away. And that happiness reflects itself then in the manifest forms, and we taste the honey. It's really sweet, and then the honey runs out. And we go, oh, that was really good. Yeah. But there's an essential equanimity, an essential contentment that is a constant in the midst of all of the flux of human life. So, all right, boy, I did not expect to go on that long about that. Alrighty, let's see here. Hello, Rosario. It's like my introduction. I get into the show, right? Let's get into the show now. Hello, Ava and Jacqueline. Oh, I'm so glad. So glad you're here, Jacqueline. Ava says, if Ava says the sound is good, then it's good, yeah. Water time with GP. Mercenarity. Oh, mercerenity. Ah, very good. Mercy, serenity. There's Ida. Hi, Ida. There's Christina, my dear G. Always so happy to see you. And you. I just, when you turn towards the distress that we have become so adept at running away from, and Lord knows that our current environment gives us a million reasons to run away from it. In fact, if you're watching this video on YouTube, underneath it has suggested all the places that you could run to here and you could run to here. It's just a glut of ways to avoid just turning towards the burning bush. And it's my great pleasure to kind of stand there and help you, because the impulse to get away is awfully strong. And subtle. Oh, so subtle. So many different ways of doing it. I'm pretty sure I've done them all. But I can't be certain about that. I'm sure there are some I have not caught yet. matter of fact, even as I'm saying, oh yeah, there are. Damn. Okay, yeah. So this is a path in which any kind of arrogance or pride is made short work of. Just, I even heard my teacher, Muji, say, arrogant, just, it's there. Just don't even try to pretend. Right? Just recognize humbly that it's there and allow it to be exposed. It comes even to the sage. We think of these sages as these guys that are like, which is just pure projection. It's pure imagination. It's not true. They have just learned. They have just come to see deep in their hearts, not their minds, but in their hearts, that beingness that is recognized is the beingness, and are now just never accepting the invitation to think of yourself as anything less. That's it. It's very practical and very available to every single one of us here. No exceptions. No special talent. No special gift. Right? You are the gift. Right? Anyway. Barb writes stories. Barb, hey, happy little surprise. Reminder of Tiwaji. Hello all. So happy to see you. Jennifer, namaste, beautiful family. And namaste to you, dear lady. So good to see you. Maribeth, hello. I don't remember the name. Maybe a bit since I've seen you, but wonderful. And there's Laird. Hey, Laird, good to see you. Coming, it was such a long time. Now I'm getting access to you every week. Maybe you'll join in the intensive. I don't know what it's called, retreat. It's not a retreat because it's not really long. It's just instead of tea with G, I'm doing that next week. I also have the the tapping immersion, the emotional healing thing that I also do. That's going to go on anyway. So your pointings are so helpful. I'm happy you will be with Muji. Yeah, it's such a wonderful story. But yes, I'm going to go to Sahaja. I will be there the 10th through the 22nd of September. So during that time, I'm going to be on retreat. So I'm not going to be teaching any classes. I'm not going to be doing anything, even my live stream. I'll be doing it the Sunday before, which will be like 2 days. I think it's like the 20th. Yeah. No, not the. I'm sorry, the 10th. Yes, and I'll be doing it from Portugal. I'll be in Faro then. And then I'll do it the Sunday after. Don't know where I'm going to be then. I may have some places to just stay and hang out in Europe for a little bit longer. Don't know yet. But yes, the last time I saw him in person was 9 years ago, when I asked him formally to be my teacher, and he accepted it. Little did I know what that involved. Since then, I have to say my awakening has been accelerated and has been a series of face palms, like, oh God, really? You're expecting, oh, wonderful, the path, look, oh, my son has come back to me, and instead it's like, oh, no. But, I asked for it. Lord, purge me of ego, merge me with you. And then I was invited to take that quite seriously. Okay. Do you mean that? Not at first, but yes. So, great to see you, Laird. Christina, when you did the Tea with G on Christmas Day, you told me the story about Moses, and the burning bush. After that, I decided to contact you. And now I can't leave. Yeah, I'm kind of like the Hotel California, huh? Check it anytime you want, but you can't leave. Because it's an illustration from the tradition most of us have had, the Christian tradition, which includes the Jewish Bible, or the Jewish tradition. We grew up with these stories; they're part of the mythology, but they were always taught as if they were historical facts, and that was the first real. The beginning of my own spiritual path after I'd had that spiritual experience at 19. Growing up in the Midwest, a small town in the Midwest, there wasn't access to much. But somehow I just knew that these Bible stories wasn't history. After having experienced directly a presence, suddenly I began to see my experience in these stories. I became quite an avid Bible student for a while, until my own growth required to move on, which meant some kind of disillusionment with everything, more tragedy in my life, all sorts of, yes. This has not been a rose-trimmed path by any stretch, and I can be very grateful for it now, because if you try to design your own awakening, you're going to try to design it to make it look like it's this really beautiful, wonderful thing, and you'll find you can't hold on to it. It is beautiful, it is wonderful, but it also requires you to step into the burning bush and not just walk away from it. Yeah. The beauty that doesn't dissolve, doesn't dissipate, that doesn't age, is on the other side of that stuff that we've been trying to get away from. It's what this is hiding, and there's no way to it but through. And the only way of getting through it is the natural cultivation of the precision of the self-inquiry, and the opening of the heart to love the unloved parts of us, which are what are burning, the parts of us we've simply rejected. It's love that opens that door. It's love that tames the beast. It's love that tames the dragon, not the sword. It's love that tames Kerberos, the three-headed dog that guards the underworld, that's what it's referring to. So, yeah. More serenity. He's got it phonetically for me. So if I turn towards personal feelings of anger and frustration, with acting out, of course, it's healthy and transformative. Yeah, it is. To really turn towards them, which can take some assistance. I've found that most people have a really hard time doing it on their own, but with a little bit of guidance and just somebody else to kind of, like riding a bike, right? Dad's behind there holding it for a while as you get the hang of it, because we're not used to doing it, and we've all been conditioned to run away from our feelings. Right? Feelings are bad, which isn't it's actually not a flaw. It's the way the whole system was designed, because when you're a child and you're in an environment that's creating all sorts of distress from you, you can't run away from it, and you can't fight it. The only thing you can do is separate yourself from the feelings of it. Now we go into our heads, and that is what happens in every human life. And so the conditioning that keeps us from feeling this is very deep and very powerful. And of course the assumption underneath it is that the problem is the feelings. When the problem never was the feelings, it was being mistreated. But because we're in a position of utter powerlessness, we can't do anything about the mistreatment. So instead, we have to do something about the feelings, which the nervous system has learned how to do. And because the nervous system is terrified that it's just going to be back into that place, it resists at all costs us trying to feel it. That's the distraction, all the stuff, the throwing the rock in the bushes, and the like. So if, like Moses, you can just turn towards it, but I have to add, turn towards it with love. Because if you turn towards it, trying to get rid of it, you're in the realm of personal development, self-help, and motivation, and a lot of spiritual practices to try to get rid of it or transcend it. All you're doing is reinforcing the idea that the feelings are bad and you have to get rid of them, and you can't. It is a fool's errand. So to turn towards them, at first there's so much fear and resistance. And of course there's also the desire to be free of them. But we've always assumed to be free is that somehow they're gonna go away. Damn it, they don't. It's just the bush that burns and is never consumed. It just keeps burning. Right? So when you turn towards that, really lovingly, openly, recognizing that what this is a protective mechanism that thinks that if you get there, you're going to be destroyed, humiliated, maybe even physically die. Suddenly, you realize that this is not an enemy. It's just you, an aspect of you that has been misunderstood. And you can begin to turn with actual compassion and acceptance, which, by the way, is self-acceptance and self-love. That's what it really is. And curiosity. So now you have a feeling of anger, frustration, right? What is the frustration? I can't do right. Something I'm reaching for, and I can't get it. Something I'm sure happened to you all the time when you were a kid, and that frustration, being so painful. It's such a powerful energy. It's got to be suppressed, and it turns into anger because you're angry that you can't get what you want, which even in the best of terms, the kid can't always get what it wants. It's not always safe for it to do so, but it's the things that you really could and would be fine, but for whatever reason, the ideology, the culture, whatever. No, you can't do that. Right? I just thought this morning of someone who's just a natural born dancer, right? Just really good at the natural rhythm, just loves to move. If you grew up in a Southern Baptist household where dancing was a sin, what do? Your own nature is thwarted. You're like, you can't dance, and yet that impulse is there. You can't get rid of it. It's part of your expression. Okay? So that anger and frustration is actually about your incapacity to express yourself as innocently, and it is all innocent. Right? So if you turn towards it, that anger, and recognize that that anger could not possibly be expressed, but it's legitimate. Children do feel anger. That's what a temper tantrum is. They're just this anger. What do you do with all that energy? Eventually, it has to be suppressed, and the anger. Of course, I remember getting really angry, but I also remember what would happen if it got expressed. That was even worse than the thing I was angry about. So it comes down, and then later on you think, oh, I'm not angry. I don't get angry. I'm above that. It's like bullshit. So instead, you find yourself validating that part of you that had been invalidated. Right? It says that had to suppress it. Yeah, you had every reason to be angry. Go ahead, feel it. Feel it. Feel the hatred towards those who so badly mistreated you. You might go through a period of blaming them and all that kind of stuff as it comes, but eventually it all begins to kind of coalesce. And the very fact that you're allowing it to happen, giving it permission, validates it. And the need for the anger and the frustration begins to dissipate, because now you're getting what you always wanted and wanted in the first place, a loving witness to yourself. You're now treating yourself with respect and kindness rather than perpetual fixing. That's sensed in the whole body-mind mechanism as safety, at which point it now begins to let go of all of the behaviors, the programs, the beliefs, all of it. That's when all the stuff starts coming up, because it's now safe enough for it to jettison all of the self-protective behaviors that have just compressed your life into a little ball. Yeah. So it's healthy and transformative because it's loving and it's wise, but it can take some guidance to get there. Yeah. It's not easy to do on your own. So join in on my EFT class. I got that going on. There's a level 1 that's starting. Just go there. It's an immersion, and I use tapping to be able to, because it communicates safety through touch. That's what I found. Forget all the things people tell you about. I don't care about any of that. I've just found that something in the body kind of responds to it, bypasses the mind, and there's this message of safety getting to it. And this is a multi-week thing that goes on, and it's getting to the point where it's just gonna ongoing, and then there's just different levels of knowledge that go in there. But at any rate, that's for the emotional healing aspect of things. But I'm also doing a non-dual self-inquiry on Zoom, which I do every week, but not everybody wants to come every week, so every now and then I just do one instead of Tea with G, where I'm available on Zoom, very cheap to get in, and even free if you really can't afford it. I never turn anybody away, because I have just found that this really is the way to the freedom that we're all seeking. And I've found that we need guidance. Period. We just do. I got as far as I could get on my own. And if I hadn't not only asked Mooji to be my teacher, but eventually, which took a lot longer, totally accepted and be as good a student as he was a teacher, my progress had stalled until I really went through enough that I was willing to completely submit and trust him. And when I did, just it just started to accelerate. I could barely keep up with it. I needed to have the guidance of a living Buddha, of a living enlightened being, a fully enlightened being. I needed it. There's things I simply could not see, and I wouldn't have seen them. This is for somebody who was very proud of everything they knew. It took a while for me to finally say, I can't do it. Help. Help me. Yeah. And of course, the help was there. So, let's see. Thank you there, Merserenity. I could say it more fluently now, Merserenity. Let's see. Oops, wow. So there's a lot more here than I thought. Yeah, thanks for that. I see there's more down here. What? A collaboration with Moody? Oh, Muji, yes, Muji is my teacher. And I'm going to go spend some time at Sahaja, which is, by invitation only. And I'm just... I didn't fully take advantage of what was available to me when I was with him in India, because I served I actually worked with it. I didn't just come to the satsangs. I was there all day, part of the AV team. I was down there working with the sound on it. So when I asked him to be my teacher, I was in a room. There was about 8 of us, just the 8 of us there sitting. It was his room where he was sitting on his bed. And it's the only question I could come up with, because it was a tumultuous time, because there was a fire in me that I couldn't quite face yet. Right? That was there. That was, and the moment he became my teacher, it was obvious. He was, my head was in the lion's mouth. But yes, collaboration, no. Collaborate. He is my teacher. When I go there, I am just nobody. I'm just there to touch the infinite, to touch myself. Because the living teacher is the representation of yourself to yourself in a form that you can accept, because you can't yet accept it as yourself. It's in fact you, appearing to you as somebody else, because God is so kind and loving that he'll appear as anything. Whatever you need, he appears. So, hello, Ella. Hello, Ella. Lovely. It's so good to see you. Hello, GP from Massachusetts. Hoping you're all happy and healthy. We are. Yeah. Interested in participating in intensive retreat. I'm going to get more information about them. Well, that was it. It's going to be a week from today. I will actually be in Arizona at my son's house. I'm going to, those of you who are in the EFT program, I'm actually going to do the gathering on Thursday, because on Saturday I'm going to be in an airplane till later in the day, and then again. But I don't think I'm traveling on any Saturdays after that. This one was just really worked out well. So you'll all get an email after we're done here about switch if you can make it on Thursday. But don't worry, they're gonna just go on. Plenty of opportunity to work on it. So just once again, next week, Avadhut. I read from the Avadhut Gita, and I'm just into it right now. So that's the theme, but it's going to be like this, except I actually get to work with you. It's so much nicer when I can see your face, and I can there's more intimacy there. in a very nice, won't be huge. I don't have crowds of people showing up. So yeah, and it's not expensive. Just enough for me to like pay for my lattes, basically. Merserenity, yes. It's the highest expression of love you can give yourself. It's not this abstract, universal love and oneness and all of that. Nice stuff, very nice stuff. I mean, this is a love that gets down in the mud with you. Right down into the heart. Into the heart of it. By being willing to be. This is Christ, hanging out with the sinners and the publicans and the tax collectors and the whores and the drunks, right? He even changed water to wine. There you go. And you know what? I bet it was damn good wine. Yeah. None of this yellow stuff. Yeah, good stuff. Barb, tell me about family. What is it? Why does it seem like some people do have a fixed and functional family? It's the whole spectrum, Barb. Christy, number one fan girl. Oh, I may have more than one. Barb. Yes, some are. I remember as a teenager, not really aware yet of exactly how dysfunctional, of how abused I had been. At this point, I was still just stoned all the time, which should have been a sign, but, I didn't get it yet. I'm still young. And I was probably about 17 or so. And, our house, dinner around our house had become, a lot of the time was literally eating TV dinners, sitting at a TV tray in front of the TV. That was dinner. Sometimes we'd be at the table, but it was weird. It was just weird. I mean, it was just a dysfunctional family. And there was this girl I was dating, and she was Italian, and I went to their house for dinner one night, and there's like 5 kids. The mother and the father. The mother and father were actually young compared to mine. My mother was 40, almost 41 when she had me. My dad was almost 50, which was unheard of in 1952. So everybody thought they were my grandparents. So I met this table, and there's these young parents and all these kids, and it was lively and conversation. There was no TV. The father worked for some advertising agency. He was a designer, and he's like drawing pictures and things like that. And the big pot, it was like traditional Italian stuff, and everybody's serving it up, and it was just like, what is this place? What is this so wonderful? And I mean, wine with dinner, and it was like, I just never, where am I? I never experienced, right? So it runs the whole gamut from totally dysfunctional, like mine was, all the way up to just healthy and loving and the like. Now, what that means is that the level of conditioning isn't the same. That's all it means. There's no such thing as an environment that is so functional, so perfect, that our capacity for self-expression is not suppressed and buried in some way. Right? I mean, this is also a very Catholic family, right? So they had all sorts of those ideas, and of course everything was in tumult because this is the '60s, right? Right? And I've got hair out to here. Actually, that girl's mother had seen me because I was in the choir in high school, and she saw it, and we're doing a pop concert, doing pop music, and I came out with bare feet and like, and she said, God, I hope my daughter never brings home a boy like that. About 2 weeks later, I'm at the door. It's pretty funny, actually. It's really good. Anyway, but when it's a really dysfunctional family, it becomes really obvious. I'm fucked up, right? Eventually. It's not so obvious when there's enough of the self-expression that you're much more functional in life, right? And so it's like, the truth is, though, it's no advantage when it comes to awakening. Sorry. That conditioning happens to absolutely all of us. And yes, wouldn't it be better if our conditioning was less? My experience in life would have been very different had I not had the abuse that I did. However, it's very likely that I would not have yet been a candidate for awakening. I was already, I had all sorts of skills and talents and stuff, right? So I could make a functional life, right? To an extent. Enough, right, that I could feel about things, and ways of kind of downplaying all the horrible things that were going on, my incapacity, the fact I'd make money and lose it all the time, the fact that the relationships I had were totally unsuccessful and abusive, actually. I had enough that I could avoid the confrontation for that. But eventually, grace, I couldn't avoid it anymore. And then all of it started becoming apparent. The whole picture became apparent. And all I can say is that you get to a certain point and you go, wow, this life, just as it unfolded, was exactly what I needed. It needed for what? It was not what I needed, to be a big success, to be a rock star, which is my ambition, then have a successful business and all of these things that I tried to do, even be a great teacher, right? It was not adequate for that. It was impossible for that. I mean, I was emotionally, I was incapable of achieving those things because of all that conditioning. But that's not what this life was about. I didn't know that yet. This life was for awakening. I had to awaken to the fact that that's what this life was about. As that began to unfold and it became clear and I surrendered more and more to it, I began to see that's what's been happening the entire time. That's what this whole thing has been about. And it has been right on, dead nuts on. Everything led to it. Once I saw where this life was actually going and not where I wanted it to go, it was like, my God, it's perfect. And now I can say, heard me say it, Lord, thank you for this disastrous life, every last bit of it. Fatima. Anyway, how's that, Barb? Yeah. I know it seems weird. Some of the things that happen to us are so extreme. We go, what the hell was that about? I've been married twice. In both of them, I became just this resource. I got completely reduced. None of my needs were met. None of them. None of them were even acknowledged. I relived once again the experience differently. Right? Although this time now I had all of the responsibility and none of the rewards, none of the pleasures, none of the fun, none of the affection. Just responsibility. burden upon burden. But I managed to suppress it. And, wow, when I think about it, I look back, I wouldn't wish it on anybody, but I wouldn't change a thing. Can I say, thank you, Lord, because I have the incredible honor to be able to sit here with all of you, and to help you go back through those abandoned parts of us that are kind of dark and scary and painful, and to redeem them, bring them back into the light. Anyway, thank you there, Barb. You know I love you. Fatima, I love Muji too. Oh. I know what gratitude really is now. Sevi, Ali, GP, I was not allowed to cry as a child. I stopped. No, it was useless. Anger was acceptable, and as you know, as a result, I've had to heal some major rage issues. Me too, love, that I didn't even know were there. I was very fortunate to be part of a men's group during another time in my circuitous route to the real teacher, and in that group there was an opportunity for that rage to come out. And I saw one of the fellows I was in there with, like maybe 10 years later. He says, "What about that rage?" I said, "Bob, it's finally gone. It's finally gone." Yes, it would come out. And I'd had it so well suppressed under this nice demeanor. So I was really good at acting. That's why I could do voiceovers and things like that. Took the parts very seriously. But when there was finally an opportunity for it, it would just kind of fly out the side. And but it was there. Now that I no longer fly into rages, or even feel strong anger anymore, I'm at a loss. I can't cry either. So I feel I have a lot of suppressed grief. My question is, do I need to do anything to allow it to come up? To having meditation, or do just accept that I can feel the emotions behind the grief right now? Will it come up on its own when it's ready? Yes. I want you to join the continuity program, because you've been through level 3. And if you can't afford it right now, no problem. Because we're just continuing all the way back to level 1, creating a safe space. Right? And you just continue to do that. So, the way we've most been taught about this kind of, you got to get your grief and cry, or let the anger out and stuff. Let the body decide when it's ready and the way in which it comes out. It doesn't have to come out like that. It doesn't have to be suddenly long bouts of tears, right? Or some suppressed stuff. That's the psychological. That's our minds trying to do what they can't do. All you have to do is continue to become safer and safer and safer for yourself, more and more self-accepting, more and more full of self-love, and just patiently wait until it either just dissipates, right, or it comes out in some form. But because that energy, the whole body, mind, nervous system is so intelligent, it doesn't have to come out in a way, to fulfill one of our self-serving expectations. It doesn't have to come out at all. Right? It can dissipate very easily and very naturally and very quickly. But what it does need to force out is just allow it to do it. And when it feels ready, and when the coast is clear, it will. But it'll be in such a way that it won't do any damage on the way out. It won't cause you undue stress. It'll be a real revelation. As it comes to the surface on its way out, you'll know it's on its way out. Even with shudders and tears and all sorts of stuff, you'll just be like, oh. And just remember, the body knows what it's doing. All we have to do is give it the environment in which it can do what its natural capacity knows how to do, and that is release everything it doesn't need and allow that energy to flow back into the channels that it was designed to flow in the first place. It knows what to do. All we have to do is let it do it. But that's the practice, learning how to actually be the enlightened witness, the ally, the friend, the rescuer of this abused dog that needs to be rescued. And so, just like a rescuer rescuing an abused animal, you have to let it come on its own time. You just keep being safe, keep being safe, keep being safe. Right? And you'll notice just doing that, there'll be little changes you'll know, which you're already seeing, right? The reactivity, the rage, you'll see it dissipate. It wasn't this dramatic event that took place. It's just been this wonderful, gradual happening. And so don't worry about, but shouldn't I be crying? No. If you feel there's suppressed grief, then just, okay, thank you for letting me know that there's some suppressed grief. Right? Whatever it is, I'm here. Just open yourself up, lovingly, compassionately, and then you let it do what it needs to do with it, which may be absolutely nothing. All it may need is just to be acknowledged, right? Like a little kid. Spending time with my young granddaughters now. It's real little. She'll be 4 in October. Wow. No, September. And wow, I'll be in Sahaja when she turns 4. Got to get on Zoom. I gotta get on Zoom. Yeah, some way. Anyway, I just watch them. Even the older one, who's 8, going to be 9. Watch her. She'll go away and turn back, make sure I'm there. Right? Needing my approval, needing me to say, "Oh, okay," and I'm here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's wonderful, Bella. That's great. Fantastic. Right? That's all we need to do. Sometimes that's all it needs is to know you're there. And it's gone. This is so beautiful when we drop all of our ideas as to how we think all this is supposed to happen. I did. I had all sorts. That is the way I was to be. That made me very arrogant about all the stuff that I knew until I found out how stupid I actually was. Yeah. We don't know what awakening is. How in the world can we make our own path there? That path can only come from the reality of you that is eternally awake, mapping out the path for you. And what do? You follow it. You follow it. Even when it asks you to give up things that you're really, really fond of. Go, okay, into thy hands I commit my spirit. That's the beauty of the whole story of Christ and the cross and all of that is just this incredible surrender. That's the humanness of it, just this surrender to whatever it is. And in the case of the crucifixion, it looks like this. You're surrendering even to your own death, which we do. At some point when we're dying, we have to surrender to our own death. There's no point in fighting it. Surrender to letting go of everything. So do it now. And enjoy the hell out of this life until it's over. Anyway. Christina, I don't quite understand when you say God is so kind and loving that it will appear to you, and yet I am God. God playing with herself? So confusing. Well, yeah, because if we are completely identified with the form and the person, that sense of I am has forgotten that it is the I am. Look, you can't understand this stuff with your mind, right? Yeah, take it in. How is it that I can have God appearing to me and I am God at the same time? Well, because everything that appears to you, should I go here? First off, accept that. Notice that all the places where you don't believe you're God, where you don't believe it, I don't believe it. Right? Something needs to show up in your life to simply show you, right? So, not that long ago, the idea that I am God wouldn't have sunk you wouldn't have paid any attention. Probably wouldn't even heard it. Wouldn't even have reached your ears. Right? And then at first people go, "How can I be God?" Because we have the idea of me and God as this super being. So how can I be that when it's an other? But yet something catches you, and you get drawn to it. And when you do, the things that appear in your life keep pointing you back. And so, yes, it feels as if it's somebody else, but in fact, it is simply the truth of yourself, calling the sense of I am, which removed becomes this I am this person, I am this body, I have this history, and all these, the self-image that we carry. Calling that sense of I am out of that, which is the process of just all this stuff being filtered, which we're doing together, right? Back to just the pure sense of I am, full stop. Just, oh, wait a minute. I am not this or that, this person. I just am. And yet, I am experiencing it as this person. So, I'm inhabiting this life, this person, this experience. At one time I thought that was completely what I am. Now I recognize that no, I'm way more than that. But in this moment, this is how I'm experiencing myself. Remember from the Avadhut that both the unmanifest and the manifest are not two. That realization appears as, wait a minute, God is appearing to me, and I am that God, suddenly starts to make more sense. Right, of course it is. Everything is me. Everything is me appearing to me. Whoa. You, Christina, are God appearing to me. All of you. That's your true identity. Yeah? But you can see the resistance to that, the beliefs about it. What is that? Right? That's why something in your heart just kind of draws you to this, to the point where, as you said before, you can't check out of this hotel now. It's like, it's got you. You are now on the path, and all the breadcrumbs that lead back to where you were are gone. The birds, they've all been eaten. So it's the mind that's confused, but just feel into your heart where the real knowing takes place. Right? At the same time, you know it's true. How do you know? Because what knows it's true is the truth itself. That which recognizes God is God. Ale, I just accept that I can't feel the emotions behind the grief right now. And will it come up on its own? Yeah, absolutely, love. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it will, when it's ready. Or it'll disappear it'll just disappear and you'll know it's gone. And it didn't need it. And that space will just be filled with this incredible love and gratitude. Yeah. Which is actually what you're really like. Yeah. Just sweet and loving and kind, which I know at some point you didn't think were characteristics that actually were actually attributes of yours. But they're real obvious to me. What else did you say here? My brothers and I ate in the kitchen, and my parents ate in the dining room. We're not allowed to be a part of it. Yeah, very weird, yeah. You're on this side of the spectrum with me. I have known people on the other side. But again, as I reiterate, it's not been any advantage. There's no advantage to it. Everyone's having the experience that they need to have. Yeah. So there's no need to compare with anything else because you're incomparable. You're one of a kind. What do you compare it? What do you compare something that's one of a kind to? The only comparison you make is you realize there's nothing to compare it to. So let's see. Mercerini. Oh, I see. Muji is the what? The teacher? Teacher. Ah, sorry. Didn't have my groove on quite right. Discovered Muji in 2019. I value that you pronounce my name with precision. It means a lot to me. Also, you can call me Mercer for short. I do. Even really languages that are very difficult for an English mouth to say. I do try to say it correctly. It's one of the things I can do is mimic accents and stuff. That's how I got jobs as a voiceover, doing different kinds of characters and the like. And I actually liked to do that, to speak to somebody and say their name the way it's supposed to be said. Still have a hard time doing it. My granddaughters both have Asian names as well because their mother's is Chinese, and I can't. It's hard to remember that one's tough. They're tough. It's almost impossible for an English speaker to say it correctly without an accent. Yeah, but oh well. Let's see. Thanks, G. Nice to be here. Oh, nice to have you here, Jennifer. I return to this often, LOL, or at noticing. Noticing occurs in the body. First, possibly the mind, yet missed there, then aware, I'm aware, as the feeling to witness whose being with the body released. Little cryptic there, Jennifer, but I think I get it. Yeah, you turn to this often, or at noticing. That the noticing occurs in the body. Does it? If I'm reading this correctly, does the noticing, the seeing, the perceiving happen in the body? Or is it perceiving the body? Does it happen in the mind? Or is it perceiving the mind? And then there's an awareness as the feeling I'm witness to is being with the body released. Not sure I get it, but what I think I get, right, is I can use it as an important pointer, and that is that remember, perceiving, right, our capacity to perceive anything, no matter what it is, that is the self. There is only one being, there's only one consciousness or one awareness. So the awareness you have right now is the self, that is God. We have been trained, the mind has been trained to believe it to be something else. That there's a me that's perceiving, and then there's this super me, or awareness, that is perceiving. There's only one perceiver. So the very thing that's perceiving my words right now is God, is truth, is reality. Your mind keeps saying it's a person, and all these pictures and images of a person, but it's not. It is the self witnessing the body and all the sensations. It is the self that sees the mind and all the thoughts and the content and all of it. It's the mind that is, it is the self that is aware of even the witnessing of it. It is the self that is aware of the sense I am, which itself is the subtlest of all of the manifest. It is the formless manifest, the firstborn of the absolute, which then, in the journey that had to happen but never happened, that I am moves outward into the world, takes a shape, takes a form, becomes what we call a person, to experience as a person. And then eventually, like a great heartbeat or breath, begins to fall back into itself, and eventually recognize the absolute, which has been here the whole time and never identified, but the identification is the experience. So at first, you're not just watching the movie as somebody watching the movie. You're the character in the movie, having all the experiences, the full range of experience. And so finally, God knows how many lifetimes, it's time to go home, right? And suddenly, oh, wait a minute, I'm not the movie. I'm watching the movie. I'm watching the one watching the movie. And it just keeps going back until it's like, oh, this is a journey that never happened. Even the awakening, hearing the stories of Buddha and Ramana and Muji, and that also is just, that's the movie coming to an end. And with it, all of the experiences that go with it. Am I even close, Jennifer? I'm going to scroll down here to see if... see, she says, yeah, I try to shorten everything when I notice things in the body first. I notice awareness by being aware of this awareness, that the feeling I'm having is felt. Yes, the feeling is I'm this body. That awareness releases that feeling. Well, don't look at it like that. Awareness is not a therapeutic tool. It is the nature of being. Right? It's not here to release the feeling. Right? Simply, no, this is existential. This is about being. So, okay, there's this feeling. The feeling also has attending to it. Now, look at the feeling itself. And the feeling is not, I'm this body. It's just a feeling that's there, right? But there's this subtle thought there, right, that says that I'm this body. I'm having that feeling. There's a sense of I there, taking ownership of the feeling. And for part of our spiritual growth, thinking, oh, I've got to somehow transcend that. Right? Well, it's true, you do, but here's how you do it. You go, wait a minute, I'm aware of the feeling. I'm also aware of that sense of I am this feeling, I am this body. What's aware of that? Now, before you say, oh, awareness is, notice that too is a concept. You can't define awareness, like trying to define space, and define empty space. Yet your mind will try to produce a picture of empty space. Right? So it's producing a picture of awareness. I don't want a concept of awareness. Right? You are the awareness. So when you're asking, what is it that's aware of this? What's aware of being aware? When the mind says, oh, it's awareness or pure awareness, reject that answer, because it's just the mind. Right? The answer to who am I, that awareness, is you. The only answer to that question is self-realization. Do not settle for anything else. So all you do is, okay, I'm aware of being aware. Who is the I that's aware of being aware? And that which is ultimately aware of being aware, can you perceive it? Can it be perceived at all? Right. Jennifer, join the Avadhut retreat. I've yet to meet you in person. So, noted, says serenity, self-welcoming, and inner safety. Yeah. Love. Love, love, love. Yeah. I guess I'm just still an old hippie. Yeah. Love. This is true unconditional love, which is not this, abstract, everything, perfect. It's this dirty get down, right? Yeah. Oh man, that's unlovable. So yeah, it obviously needs love. For love, there's nothing unlovable. So remember, as you are doing that, welcoming, giving that love, trying with all your heart, even if you fail, to create inner safety, being willing to recognize all the places where you're creating your own danger. That's real love, which means as you're doing that, you are love itself. You are striving to embody your actual true nature. That is the self. Self is not an abstraction. Just pure awareness can sound rather clinical. This awareness is just. Why does the manifest manifest? Why isn't it just? It doesn't need to. I don't need to express myself to be myself. Why? Because the nature of the self is infinite love. That's why. Everything exists because the nature of being is love. All you need is love. So Ali started a 30-day meditation challenge. In 30 days I plan to extend it to 6 weeks and continue after that. Just wanted to set small goals that I could achieve them. Perfect. How long is the meditation period of time? For your for your everyday meditations. Tomorrow will be week 3. Congratulations. Perfect. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. Don't. People start meditating. Oh my God, I've got to wear funny clothes and get in weird positions and sit there for 2 hours. 5 minutes. The moment you give yourself permission to honor yourself, to just turn within for just a moment, to just, without an agenda, right, to just give yourself a little attention. That is meditating. That is self-love. It's so easy to do. It's so simple. It's so simple, it's baffling to the mind. Yeah. Thanks, GP. I love you. I love you too, Ali. Jennifer. Oh, Baba Muji. Amazing journey before you. Teehee. Tell him namaste for me. I will. Yeah. Everybody in my little world says that. But anyway, one more time, specifically for you, Jennifer. I've never had the opportunity to face-to-face. Same time, right here, same time you would have been, but on Zoom instead. So it's private and we can interact. So, I'm not shaming you or anything, but geez, come on. Oops, take you off. Now go back to comments. Oops, whoa, super fun. Wait, whoop. Oh. Let's see here. Hope, hello, Hope. Have you, trying to remember if seems familiar, but I'm not sure you've been here before. Anyway, what is forgiveness? Who is asking? The God within us? Who's forgiving? The human, us, who is subjected to all the suffering? I take a very different approach to it. To try to not, because it's nothing, for most it's like this act we do, an act of kind of, which can be very condescending, You're horrible, you're guilty, you deserve to be punished, but I am going to let you off the hook because I'm so wonderful. I forgive you. Most of the time when people do it, it's just an attempt to suppress the angry or bitter feelings they might have to someone who may really have done us wrong. Right? We want to forgive ourselves. We find that to be impossible. Right? So I could give you the ultimate non-dual answer, but it wouldn't do you a damn bit of good. Because it would just be another abstraction. Right? Notice that there is within you a desire to truly forgive. Right? But not just let somebody off the hook, but to be free of the negative influence that something had on me. Because if I'm completely free of the effect that it had on me, there's no need for me to hold a grudge or resentment or anything. It's gone, right? And I'm not actually doing an act of forgiving. It just vanishes. We call it forgiveness because we want a word for it, but in fact it is simply, you have reached the freedom from whatever it was that had this impact on you that has caused you to suffer. That's not there anymore. What's there to forgive? It's like automatic. And in that space of being free of that comes this insight that the only reason anybody would do anything like that to you is because they didn't know any better. They were stuck in this thing as well. That's what Christ on the cross. Father, forgive them. They don't know what the hell they're doing. And interestingly enough, that word forgiven, a variety of meanings given to it. But I've mentioned this before to folks. But our modern usage of it is constrained it to just pardon. Right? You're guilty. You deserve to be punished, but I'm not going to. You're forgiven. gets abused in all sorts of ways. But one of the meanings that it had, and one that I have a strong sense that this is what Christ was meaning, given the context, it means to be found not guilty, to be vindicated of wrongdoing. So forgiveness means you were never guilty in the first place. Now that's a different kind of thing to get. How do you say they were never guilty? Well, you find out once you have attained that freedom in you, both for things that had happened to you, things you did to yourself, things you did to others, right, that you can't undo. And you recognize that this wasn't essentially who you are, but your own conditioning, your own pain, surfacing as behavior, that forgiveness goes to you. You find your original innocence that's been there the whole time, which we thought we lost. That, in fact, was the heart and soul of the revelation that came to me at 19 years old when I was just at the very end. That original innocence was still there. When you discover that in you, gradually, it naturally just spreads out. So suddenly, now you see all the perpetrators. I don't care who they are, even the horrible people that are running our governments, and the greed and all of that. Where is it coming from? That very same place that it came from in you. Doesn't mean we don't protect ourselves from people because they are still in that. They're still totally identified with their conditioning, but now we see it. We don't take it so personally. Right? Avoid them. Right? Do everything you can to stop them. Right? But it's coming from a different place. It's not anger. It's not hatred. It's not any of that. It's arising out of your own freedom, right? and that they cannot touch that original purity, that original self that you are, cannot be touched by any of it. The more as that sinks in more deeply, it just eradicates the effect of all of it, and you find that you. It's never been touched, never been stained, is still very much there. And in fact, all of the conditioning and everything served no other purpose but to protect that. Amazing. It was never against you. Does that help? Hope? Wait. Victoria, did you say something above I didn't see? Or is that because it sounds like it's a continuation. But she says, and now I got caught in how you've got, was there something before that? Something after? Alright, anyway, I'll pick up Victoria here. My Argentine, I love Argentine people. I wanted to live there, but oh well. Get caught in how, if God is in everyone, He's love, how would He want to experience doing bad to others? Yeah. You know, it's kind of a hard one to explain to the mind. In fact, it's impossible to explain to the mind. But it's not like God is trying to do that. Let me put it like this. At least kind of point in the right direction, because it's a very subtle thing to try to say, to try to understand. But look at it like this. Imagine that you are, a slave. Just you have to accept the abuses of your master. And there's this deep hatred towards the master. As well, there could be incredibly huge fear that doesn't allow you to step out of line. And as a result, this hatred, this hatred that's coming out of the fact that instinctively, although you can't even admit it to your mind, you want to be free, but you can't be, right? Because of this guy here. Right? Now, if I wanted to have the experience, the total of experience of what that was like, the only way I could is to experience what it would be like to be the master. And vice versa. Say I was the master. And I'm cruel, you know, I give no regard, I do with them what I want, I sell their children, right? Whatever I want to do, I do. What would be the best way for me to know the impact of that? Maybe be born in the next life as a slave? How is it that we come to see the whole picture of experience? Not just the part we like, the pretty parts, the nice parts, the chocolate-covered parts, dark chocolate, of course. Remember, it's an interesting line in the story of Adam and Eve in Genesis, where, remember, they were kicked out of the garden, not because they were disobedient. That's the culture that wants to make you obedient, says that's why. But that's not why. God says they've eaten from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Right? He said, now they have become as gods, knowing good and evil. We got to kick them out of the garden and guard the tree of life so they don't eat that and live forever. It's saying that knowing good and evil, knowing the whole spectrum of experience, you've become as gods. What is wisdom but the internalizing in your heart the experience of the whole range? What would happen if you had experienced being the slave and being the master? Perfect understanding of both. Where would you end up landing? Right smack dab in the middle. There'd be just nothing but love and compassion. Understanding everything that led to all of that, the impact of that. I will tell you from experience, the most profound things that happened to me were not the great revelations. It was the realization of where I have hurt someone and I can't undo it. I have caused a pain, a suffering that I can't change it, I can't undo it, I can't unring that bell, I can't remove the consequences of it. That's what goes, oh my God. Now, wisdom is not just being good, following the rules, doing the right thing. It's the actual experience of the pain of life, the tasting the suffering. Not just the sweet chocolate, but the bitter vinegar. If you taste them both, the only way to find your own forgiveness, your own place in that, is to surrender completely to everything just as it is. Yes, wow, I did do that. Because something inside, it breaks open the heart, something says, Lord, please let me never do that again. First it may become the form of like a vow that lasts for a lifetime, where you deprive and deprive, but eventually it becomes the wisdom itself is what makes you moral, ethical, kind, compassionate. Not because it's forced on you, not because it's some spiritual ideal that you should be good, but because you see it for yourself. There's just no way in the world you could possibly ever do it again. That is a person who is genuinely saintly. You don't do it because you know what it feels like to have it done to you, and you know what it feels like to do it. You really become the antidote to suffering because you tasted it. Maybe in this self-inquiry sangha, we can dive more into that. But I like approaching it on that level because you see that it isn't without purpose. There's more here than we realize. There's more to this human experience than we realize. And so, I'll leave it at that. I've got a little bit of time here. Hold on a second. Just gotta do something here really quick. There we go. All right. This lasts a long time today. She continues. For me, there's actually some kind of comfort in the idea of God being a separate super father. That I can go when needed, and it's always there. Even tough sometimes. Doesn't seem to hear my prayers. They're always heard. And they're always answered. It's just sometimes the answer isn't what you want to hear. So I say, doesn't hear my prayers. No. Always. You want the prayer that is never denied? Lord, Father, purge me of ego, merge me with you. God is a sucker for that one. And yes, it's important to have that idea of the super father. Yeah. You may even find characters in your life that embody that for you. Who seem to always hear your prayers. Taking some shape, some form, so that and that sense, which we all need, by the way, that there are times, self-inquiry, we go, geez, I can't do it, help. Reaching out to something that feels beyond you, and that's fine. So yes, it is the super father and super mother. It is the super friend. It is, God has no particular shape, so it's always appearing. So your idea of God, great. Yeah, being a separate super father, wonderful. Pray to that separate super father. Sincerely, but always remember, yep, this is what I want, but not my will, but thine be done. Just, I want to be one with you. I want to disappear into you. I want to be replaced with you. This is Christ in the Garden of Gethsemane. Lord, if it's possible, I'd really like this cup to pass for me. I'd really rather not do it if you don't mind. However, the only way that can happen is that I drink it. Thy will be done. That whole story of the Gethsemane and the crucifixion, most of it made up. There's no way of telling what in there actually happened and what didn't, but that story, it doesn't matter that whether it was historical or not, because what it's pointing to is exactly that, him struggling with exactly what you're struggling with. And his ultimate solution to it was not something grand. It was a surrender to the moment just as it is, no matter what it looked like. Into thy hands I commit my spirit. It is finished. Into thy hands I commit my spirit. So it doesn't seem to hear your prayer. He doesn't seem to hear your prayers. The all-knowing Father always hears the prayers and always answers. What we really need to do is say, not my will, but thine be done, so we recognize the answer as an answer rather than what we want it to be. When I was, when I was a young musician, my prayer was to be the rock star. Well, of course, right? God's going to give me my prayer to be a rock star. I worked hard, I'm good at it, I know what I'm doing. Yeah, I was born for this, right? I'll be up on stage getting all the praise and adoration. Women will be throwing their panties at me. Yeah, Lord, hear my prayer. Lord, hear my prayer. Took a while to get this boy to go, not my will, but thine be done. Yeah, you know better than I do. Yeah. Love you, Victoria. The one that is ever silent, it's the noticing, the I, yeah. Don't think too much about it, Jennifer. Just notice that it's there. Don't try to describe it, put words to it or anything, because that actually just distracts you. It's just there. Silent, right? Nameless, formless. You can't even call it the one who is ever silent because it's also the one talking now. So it's beyond silence and sound. Yet there's a stillness there. But what notices the silence? What notices the stillness? It's beyond even those. You could call it I, but even that's too small. It's the no self. So, yes, one day, Baba, I will be retreat, toasting tea. It'll be so much easier to speak or understand. No shortening sentences to fit. One of these days, I'm not going to be here forever, Jennifer. Come on. 10 to 15 minutes. I started with the yoga of allowing course. Perfect, yeah. We can't put pressure on ourselves for this whole process that we go through, right? Meditation, I gotta meditate really, really hard. It's a beautiful balance, a dance between discipline of doing it even when you don't want to, and forcing yourself, right? One is simply a heartfelt submitting to what feels, what needs to be done. The other is trying to force your mind to be better, to make yourself into a spiritual person. Don't do that. You don't need to. Truth is, folks, spiritual people are very annoying. Like vegans, right? There's the joke. How can you tell if someone's a vegan? You don't have to. They'll tell you. It's true. Yeah, it's true. So, one day, Baba, I will be in retreat. Maybe make that one day. Like, next week. Mere serenity. I'm trying to get back to 5 minutes. But I'm also discovering my body needs to be at an adequate temperature, to be more ease, to slide into silent meditation. Good. Glad I can correct that one. Your body doesn't need anything. Because meditation is not about the body. Right? Don't mistake meditation with this place where you can focus. The essence of meditation is simply the desire to see yourself as you are. So right now, close your eyes. I don't care what state your body is. Notice what state it's in. All right? Everybody, close your eyes. What state is your body in? Right? You're noticing that state. Yeah. Just let the attention notice that you are there, noticing. That you, putting your attention there. That's meditation. That's it. Okay. Yeah. The spiritual idea. You can open your eyes. That was it. And you did it. The way it gets defined and formalized, it's like this state I'm supposed to get to. Reality, the self, you are not a state. States come and go. You're not that. You are what watches all states come and go. Yes, we could try to describe it in terms of stillness and quiet and peace, but when our minds get that, it tries to make a still, quiet, peaceful place. It's not that, because even peace and stillness and quiet are very subtle perceptions. You, the ultimate perceiver, cannot be perceived at all, cannot be defined, named, nothing. And yet, aren't you that? Isn't it you who is perceiving? That's it. Now, it's true that because there's nothing there to see, there's just the awareness that you are seeing this stuff. Attention's going to want to go towards some object, something it can perceive. And so the discipline is simply bring your attention back to the fact that I'm seeing it and I can't see myself. But yeah, every time the thoughts appear, and then the thought will appear, right? Say, oh, well, you're not meditating very well because you should be in this state. And you'll buy it for a while. And wait a minute. Who's seeing this thought that says, I should be in a different state? I am. I'm seeing it. So it's appearing to me. So it's not talking about me. It's this idea that somebody, got implanted in here that I should know that. Right? That this is what spirituality is. And lots of people will tell you this is the way it's got to be done, and the rigorous breathing and all that. I tried to do that, so I couldn't do it. Thank God I found another way that's much easier. This is both. It's kind of meditation and self-inquiry simultaneously. Right? You're simply looking. Right? You're just seeing what's there. Yeah. The feelings, the thoughts, the ideas, the beliefs, they're all there. And I'm looking at them. Don't have to make them go away or anything. Just notice the simple fact. Right? This isn't a belief. It's not a theory. It's it's not a theology. It's no spiritual teaching. It's just look. They're there, and I'm looking at them, and I can't actually look at me. Okay, that's interesting. You're in. You're there. Remember, I don't have any teaching, really. I used to. Oh, jeez. More face palms. It's just look. Learning how to simply look and acknowledge what you're seeing. Yes, thoughts, emotions, sensations, memories, experiences, desires, they're all there. And I'm seeing all of them. Which would have to mean that those aren't essentially what I am. And they keep coming and going. And I'm watching them coming and go. Means I'm not coming and going, at least relative to them. I'm just here. So what am I? What the hell am I? When that question is asked, your mind will present all sorts of, oh, you're this and this and this. Wait a minute, it's the same thing. It's just more thoughts that I'm looking at. The only thing that's going to tell me what I am can't be this stuff going by, coming and going all the time. only me. It's got to come from me, that which is seen. So the question is, who am I? What am I? But accepting no answer. Because the answer to that question is self-realization. Because what can tell you who you are other than you? I can tell you all sorts of things about you. You know, I can tell you horrible things about you. I can tell you beautiful things about you. But it's just this one, it's one old guy sitting there, right? What does it mean? Nothing. It's just somebody's perspective. It's secondhand, right? It's hearsay. Where are you going to get the straight dope as to what you are? From you. Nowhere else. Oh. So the only meditation, the only actual contemplation is that looking. And getting better and better at not being distracted by this or that, by the shiny object. And it just gets... that which is being perceived as opposed to that which is perceiving, the looking just becomes more and more subtle, and you're seeing more and more things that weren't so obvious before they start to become obvious. And you sink deeper and deeper and deeper into the one who is just the seeing, even the seeing. Call that the absolute. Just awareness, aware of itself, non-dual recognition. Don't even need the I am that. Because it's even a reduction for me to say you are that. To say I am the self. A form has to appear to say it. Don't need it. It doesn't need to be said. It just is. I don't know why I get off on some of these tangents, but what's in your tea today, G? It looks delicious. Today it is actually a latte with this espresso and oat milk today. That's it. Nice, and I really like the ice, especially when it's nice here. This is for afterwards. I chug so much liquid, and this is not my normal fully loaded drink with protein powder, and it does have apple cider vinegar. It's really low, but this is just like water, lemon, and some electrolytes. So that's it. That's the menu for today. I should release my official latte, iced latte drinking cup. Right? A logo on it. Yes, we'll call it the Pure Awareness drink or something like that. Yeah, marketing. $1 million idea. It's up there somewhere. Hello, Adrian. Okay, hold on. Kasubowski? And I think I got the Adrian right, but anyway, welcome. I might have seen you before. I'm not sure. Savvy, I've learned there are 3 answers to prayer. Yes, no, or not yet. Yeah, that's right. Yes, no, or hang on a moment. I'll get right back to you. They're always answered, though. Dale, how are these top fans in the comments ranked? I don't know. And I see the comments. They simply come in the order that they come in. Here, it's added to the bottom. When it's a posted video, or after this is just a recording, they're always put at the top. The most current one goes to the top. Otherwise, I don't know how they actually rank it and that sort of thing. Victoria, thanks, G. I got it. In my little mind, if I were God, which I am, everything would be rainbows and unicorns. Yeah, isn't it? So I love hanging out with my granddaughters because for them, it is all rainbows and unicorns. So but I watch the older one, right? Suddenly, boys are starting to look a little bit different. I even mentioned that. She was talking about some boy, and I said, what do you think of boys? She's almost 9. She says, well, they're handsome, but not all of them. I'm just watching as that opens and more adjustments have to be made to be in the world. It's actually beautiful to see, knowing that much of this has to happen, and just being there as much as I can to interject what I can into the process. But I think I did say the other day, she was just looking in the mirror. I was sitting at the table. We were alone together, hanging out. She looked in the mirror and says, I've never really seen myself. I go, oh, that's my girl. We talked about that for a bit. Yeah, seeing an image. She was like fascinated by the fact that it's always been pictures, but she's never actually seen herself. A budding sage. As a grandpa, I just can't help but hope it's not as rough for her as it was for me. But I know I'm not designing her awakening. I'm just grateful to be able to participate in it. Her serenity actually notes it's an automated rank based on how much someone engages on the channel. Wow, must be really it makes sense. Wow, 2 people actually know what they're doing about this stuff. Just be oat milk, yum. Yeah, I kind of go between oat milk and almond milk. Used to make my own almond milk, but I just haven't been able to do that of late. Yeah. Dale said, I assume when you said you were going to Portugal, you're meeting Muji again? Yes. Speaking of that, do you think the invitation to freedom is one of the best meditations to go back to? If you're drawn to it, do it. Yes, it's extremely valuable, right? And also his just be exercises, right? Which he still does, which is prepared for where he is right now, which is like just uncompromising pointing, which is what I need, right? I'll listen to a video of Muji, I'll hear like 2 lines, I turn it off, that's all I need, just take it in. So try it, right? Yeah. If it's occurred to you, then give it a try. You may stay with it for a while, it may be just that once. You may not even get through the whole thing, and something just gets opened, right? Yeah, that's the way to approach all of this spirituality stuff, right? There is within all of us, and no more questions, so I can just kind of bring it to a close here. There is within all of us that the knowledge of truth, because within all of us is the truth of us, which is the truth itself, the reality. The reality which you are. But our sense is there's reality and then there's me. Right? But it is that the truth of you that even brings you to the point where you don't know what you're doing, and it feels like you stumbled on to this path. It wasn't an accident, and it wasn't a stumbling, because the truth communicates in all sorts of different ways in which it appears to us. But eventually it gets to the point where we begin to consciously participate with it. As we do, we find ourselves in the middle of this just seemingly endless contradiction of the sense of what's true and all this, the conditioned patterns, the environment we live in, the opinions of that it isn't, that I am that separate self, seems to be constantly being confirmed over and over and over again. And at first, we have a sense we know it's true. We want it to make sense to our mind. So we work with, oh God, I spent so much time doing that. Okay, I need to know a little bit more, thinking that at some time I was going to go, yeah, I got it. I finally came to see that's never going to happen. When you say, oh, I got it, it's just another thing the mind has created, and that I got it will simply become what? Doubt. Oh, I lost it. Or, yeah, but. There's a point at which you just completely let go of trying to get any confirmation, approval, or acceptance of your mind. So something in me knows this is true. That's it. I'm just going to believe it. And of course, if you have a teacher, you can also go, why is this true? Well, he said so. And that, not enough, just, well, he said so, and his teacher, Ramana, Buddha, look at the whole list, they've all said exactly the same thing. You are that now. Okay, that's enough for me. Good enough. That's faith. Even though everything is screaming at me that I'm not, I'm taking the sides of this, period. I'm not trying to convince all these guys that it's true. Just forget it. I'm building my house here. That's the mind moving into the heart, where it really actually wants to be. It tempers the mind. It brings you to surrender. It brings you, it's even beyond humility, because there's, you're humbled by the mere fact that this is what is. I am that. It's like, wow. Christina, I missed a question of yours. What is it? Let me see. What is it? Jacqueline. Love you. I love all of you. Yeah. Not as a person. Yeah. A person isn't capable of this. I'm not capable of it. Sometimes it feels like I'm going to explode. It's like, wow. just wow. Should I scroll back here a little bit to see what I missed there, Christina? I'll give it a minute. Yeah, since there's not a long list after you, I can go back and see. I can't find it. And so I got a couple of seconds here to put it back in. Otherwise, I know you'll ask me at our next meeting. So, yeah. Self-inquiry, the path of Vedanta, and devotion, the path of bhakti, are not two. What you have come to see, that no, I cannot perceive myself, that will be argued ad nauseum by the programmed mind, by conditioning, by the world at large. You're never going to get any kind of agreement out of them, so don't look for it. It really is a letting go of the mind completely. It's useful to a point in self-inquiry, but then it's time to just go, no, how do I know this is true? How can I trust that it's true? These are the deep questions. I can see it, I can feel it, but everything's telling me it's not, or yeah, I'm getting it, but I'm not there yet. Oof, wow. Okay, just, Lord, purge me of ego. Merge me with you. All I want to know is what's true. That's it. I just want to know what's true. That's my commitment, to know what's true no matter what. Whatever the consequences of that might be. That's the path. Christina you have a curiosity about astrology, all those ideas, planets influence our emotions. No, they don't. At best, the planets, what legitimacy there is to astrology and such things, it's not because the planet, it's not, the planets and all of that are not causative. They're not causing it, but they can reflect it. Remember, the universe is you. Everything out there is a reflection of you. Because we believe ourselves to be this separate thing, we see all of these influences on us. Science would completely disregard astrology. Others say, yes, there's this influence, and we're all aware of influences that can't so easily be explained. The belief that I am this separate being in this universe, and there are things out there influencing me, the belief in that is the influence, not the things. That puts all the power back in your hands. Yeah. So there's nothing out there influencing you. If you believe there is, you will experience it as if that were happening, and in ignorance attribute causation to the thing out there, ignorant of the fact that it's you. It's your belief based on being a separate self projected outward. Mooji used the very funny example of you're in a relay race, right? Running really hard and passing the baton off to the next one. And it goes, he says, you realize that it's you. You're passing it off to you. You're running around and passing it off to you. And it's like, round and around and around you go. It's all you. Come back to you, and the whole universe will become your mirror, which is also you. A nice thing to end on. Thank you, all my loves. All my loves. Remember, next Sunday, I won't be tea, there'll be this. And I really do love having lots of people there to enjoy it. And I love getting to see people I've never seen before. And I actually do it every week. Right? But, love to get people here that I've never actually been able to see on Zoom. It'd be really nice. Right? It's a disadvantage, you can see me, I can't see you. So, anyway, enough of that. Thank you, Mom. Love you so much. Till next time.